Let me just take the autofocus off here before the vapor just distorts everything. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Brief Vapes channel. My name is Dr. Softnar. Where in a brief summary as possible, I try to tell you why or why not you should buy a particular piece of vaping gear. One day I'm going to stutter on that quite severely. This video is just more thoughts on the IJoy Captain RTA. I was watching the other video back this morning and I thought I was really underselling it. I was really underselling it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back and just, instead of just taking that first video down, because it's up now and we've already started to garner some likes and views on it, so, because it's all about the likes and views after all. So I thought I'd just sort of do another video, just selling it basically, because I mean IJoy aren't paying me anything. I'm not sponsored by any company, but I feel like when a product like this comes along that is so good, and it is really good. The reason I think I was underselling it yesterday is because I was very tired and I was a little bit drunk, if I'm being totally honest. So I'm going to go back over that now and just sort of not review it. It won't be an extension of the review, but it is an extension of the review. But I'm just going to talk more about the product and the things I really like about it. The simplicity of it. I talked about the build deck in the first video. I love Postless build decks, but I mean the Vandy Vape Kylan, the way that deck was made was that the screws were. Imagine if the deck. So you're putting the airflow is here. Imagine the airflow is here. Okay, just right here. So on normal Postless decks, the screws will be here. Imagine this is the airflow here. So the coil's sitting horizontally across the airflow, and the screw for it will be here. So you have to pre-bend your wires if you're using Clapton, not necessarily if you're using Canthal, because you don't have to twist anything then. But if you're using Clapton wire or Juggernaut wire or Tiger wire or anything like that, you have to turn the coil, the flat end of the coil, at a 90-degree angle, so you can screw it in and it'll impact the back of the build deck where the post screws in. With this deck, however, and it's very similar with something like the Dotmod Petrie RTA, they cleverly designed it so the screws are, like the airflow's here, the screws are here instead. So you don't have to pre-bend your wire, you just screw it in. It's a very simple, easy thing to miss, but it's a very cool piece of design which makes things a lot easier on the builder. So that's number one. Number two is the flavour. The flavour is really good from these things, from this thing I should say, and it is from all Postless decks that are designed with airflow, like slanted and bottom. They're all really good. Like I said before with the Kylan, I love that tank. It's one of my favourite RTAs of all time. If it wasn't for the leaking, it would be the best RTA I've ever used. Maybe minus the Petrie RTA, but this thing is definitely up there with them. It's full on, it's punchy flavour. It's really in your face. It's really nice. Pardon me, I've got a very mentally juice in here at the moment. Menthol, cooladery juice in here at the moment. It's giving me chesties. I've put the Delrin drip tip back on just for the sake of this review, because it's, you know, it's not really the tank without that Delrin drip tip, and I'm starting to warm to it slightly. I don't think I'm going to use it at all, but it's certainly better than the first time I used it. Anyway, yeah, it's just all I want from an RTA is it to be relatively easy to build on, which cannot be said for the Petrie and many other RTAs. Even something like the Engine, which is easier to build on than most RTAs, but still not overly simplistic. This is just, it's spot on. It's really simple. Maybe I'd like flatheads or Allen, I always forget, the grub screws instead of Phillips head screws on the build deck, but that's not really a complaint. I mean, I have so many Phillips head screwdrivers and I've not stripped them. I've rebuilt on this thing 3 or 4 times now, and it's never turned and not turned the screw, if you get what I mean. It's never even began to plane the screws down. That's pretty much it. But those two very minor details, the build deck and the flavour, are really important to people who buy RTAs, I think, and I don't think I stressed that enough in the first video. It really is just a very competent RTA, and more than competent. Something like the Kylan would be competent, but this is just, I would recommend this to first builders, I would recommend this to advanced builders. It's just so easy to build on, and it's everything you want in an RTA, as I've said. It's just great flavour, decent vapor production if that's your thing, easy to build on, doesn't leak. That's another thing I have to stress. We've come so far in a year, in simply a year. Remember this time last year, we were still going through, it was a revelation to have an RTA that didn't leak. And now they're coming out all the time where they're less likely to leak. But I've had this thing for a couple of days now, and it really is leak resistant. And I've re-wicked it several times with less and less wick each time. And yeah, this thing is just it's fantastic. I think it's going to be my go-to RTA until something better comes along, which is unlikely to happen for quite a while, I think. So that's it, guys. That's all I wanted to say. Just give you a brief extension update video on the Captain, even though it's only been a day since I released the initial review. But I thought it was very important to stress those points because, like I said, I think we have to gush about these RTAs when they come along, simply so we can see more of them. I mean, I'm not a big fan of copycat design, but when it's copycatting something like this, and I'm glad to see the copycat design of the postless deck with that sort of slanted airflow. I think that's a great thing to copy, and I hope that all RTAs will do that in the future and just sort of build on it, if you like, or sort of configure it so that it's slightly different, or they can bring their own design thing to it. Anyway, I'm rambling now. This whole video has been very rambly. It's longer than I wanted it to be. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye. Oh, it is great. Seriously, go buy yourself one. It's great.